So I saw this post on Instagram that stated that 75% of the games that were purchased were digital versions, which means that when given the option between physical or digital, most people lean towards the digital copy of games. That being said, it does seem like the transition to an all-digital future is becoming more prominent over time. However, there are still two sides of the story. One side is that people are getting upset over the full potential loss of being able to buy their games physically, alongside the perks given to them later down the road. On the other side of the story, we have many people who have come to accept, and some even embrace, the full potential of an all-digital gaming experience. But as technology advances, are physical games becoming more increasingly obsolete, or is the digital market just becoming a bigger trend? So I went to Reddit and I asked, how many of you are all digital and why? How many of you care about physical games and why? These are the common responses for both sides. When it comes to digital games, there seems to be only two benefits that most gamers tend to care about. The first being is that it's instant access or near instant access, which means that with the press of a few buttons, you can instantly switch to another game that you want to play. The other benefit that others have talked about is that you don't have to have a dedicated space within your room for your games, which means you'll end up saving that few extra shelves or cabinet spaces for other items. Both of these benefits add to the convenient gaming experience that they tend to care about. When it comes to physical games, there are two benefits that most people tend to care about. The first benefit, which is the most common, is knowing that you get to own your game. This has probably been the biggest argument against digital games and an all-digital future. The second benefit is being able to resell your physical games if you grow tired of them. So if you've played a game and have 100% in it, you can sell it online if you don't ever plan to touch it ever again. As a side bonus, one person mentioned that with some physical game orders, they would come with special items, whether this be stickers, a map, poster, and so on. While the pros for both do seem fair, there does seem to be a shift of interest within the gaming industry, not just from a consumer standpoint, but also from a developer standpoint. Because if there's one thing that the companies and consumers have in common, it's investing into a product while saving as much money as possible. With that, they also sell you the convenience, which means the convenience of quick access and the idea that you don't have to constantly swap discs. However, not everyone wants to spend $60 to $70 for a digital game. For a lot of people, that could be too big of an expense, especially for those that have adult finances to take care of. And that's where subscription services like Game Pass come in. Not only do you pay a cheap price to play all the games in the library, which makes it more affordable in the short term, but the library is also an all-digital one, which again gives the benefit of quick access and saving space in your room. However, the issue of not owning our games still persists, which is why many people still defend physical games. But it also seems like game companies have found the workaround to fixing this issue and making sure that this problem lives on. So how do they fix this issue? Well, they did so by removing the actual game from the disc, and instead, the disc just holds the license to the game, not the game itself. Specifically, the disc is mainly there to authenticate that you have the rights to access, but this idea isn't entirely true just yet. But if we were to get rid of discs entirely, there is an issue that would arise from it. Specifically, I'm talking about price control. What I mean by this is that as a gamer, you're currently given two options. The first option would be that you either buy a new game at full price, whether physical or digital, or buy it at a cheaper price, but at the potential cost of it being used. If physical games were to go away, game companies would no longer have to compete with the used market, especially if their games are digital download only. And if they don't have to compete with the used market, game companies would be given the upper hand over the prices, which means that they could set all the new games to $70 and they'd never have to give discounts. Every company could essentially be like Nintendo. They'd release a new game at full price and never drop the value as the game gets older. However, even in this scenario, gamers would still have a little bit of say, as we would be able to vote with our wallet. But yeah, I do understand that idea is easier said than done, but it doesn't mean it's entirely impossible. But I want to wrap the conversation back around to physical games. That being said, are they dying? Well, as of right now, I don't think physical games will die off soon. But considering that Sony's PS5 Pro is an all-digital console out of the box, Alongside Xbox introducing another digital gaming console, I wouldn't be surprised if for the next console generation, both Sony and Microsoft make digital-only platforms. The only exception to this is that they'd sell the disc drive as an optional accessory that you pay separately for. Even though they do seem to act anti-consumer fairly often, taking the risk of forcing their player base to be digital consumers is a big risk I don't see them taking. That being said, they probably won't make that decision until consumers make themselves comfortable with it. So by the time they do get rid of physical games, the player base may not care anymore. Adding to this though, I wouldn't be surprised if Sony and Microsoft encouraged their players to be digital-only consumers. Microsoft has been more than public about it, which is why Game Pass exists, and the fact that you don't even need an Xbox console to access it, which not only makes it more affordable to play games, but it's at the cost of not having those games to keep. But that's just digital gaming in general. As for Sony, they're more quiet about it. Just about the only thing I see Sony doing that might encourage you to be a digital gamer, outside of the PS5 Pro issue, is giving the player free monthly games for being a PlayStation Plus subscriber. Adding to that benefit of being a subscriber, they give exclusive discounts for games to help make games cheaper. Other than that, they constantly have digital games on sale. However, that's the end of today's video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to see more content on the channel. If you have any suggestions as to what you want to see on the channel, then leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.